person puts in carrots. Oh, good. We're being recorded, which is great. And also, let me interrupt my story. If you don't want to be recorded, you can just turn your video off, whatever you need to do. But so, okay. So now we've got carrots in our stone soup. And the next person comes in and says, yeah, no, if he's going to bring in carrots, got some potatoes. So we throw in some potatoes into the stone soup. And so on for all of the villagers. And by the time it's done, you have the absolute best soup ever because everybody contributed. So this is a stone soup workshop where we're all going to contribute on the spur of the moment. And actually, Hannah's question was one of them that I wanted to put in. Please use the chat. It's going to be up. If you are visually impaired or if you're using 2 auditory channels, let us know, and then we can make sure that we cover what's in the chat in the actual one channel so you don't miss too much. And again, as real life, information's coming from everywhere all the time. If you miss something, don't worry about it. But one of the first things I really wanted us to do is to introduce ourselves in the chat as well as in on video, and just say who you are and what you really expect to get out of this session. And in true unconference spirit, you don't have to. If you don't want to, if you want to be a ghost and you want to lurk, it's okay, man. It's no problem. So this is really, as an unconference, get at what you want. Oh, and somebody's got a kitty.
I can see Kitten in the background, and it's very exciting. My kitten was here, but it turns out she was here only to try to drink the milk that's in my coffee. And when I wouldn't let her have it, she scuppered off again.
In the background. Yes. And for poor Nancy, I mean, it's 2:00 in the morning there. So
yes, welcome to all of those.
Time's Up.
Oh, that is a good tip from Hannah. On the captions, you can drag the captions around. I did not know that. Oh, that is so cool. So if it's like covering up something that you want to see, especially as we go to like demos and things like that, you can move it around. That's brilliant. Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah. And you can also do the same with the transcript. And this is one of the things that we want to talk about we have a preview of our accessibility workshop. I honestly, with any Zoom, even though I can hear pretty well, I will ask for a transcript, because then I can pop it out and I can, if I miss something or I'm thinking about something else over here, I can go back to the transcript and catch up. So it's nice I love having my 3 monitors, the chat and the transcript on one side, the Discord on the other. We are like prepped here.
Full on Minority Report.
Exactly, full on Minority Report. So,
intros.
Okay. Anybody want to volunteer to introduce themselves? If not, I'm going to introduce myself. But raise your hand. Go like this. Whatever you need. Okay.
Let's start, Dina.
All right. Well, I'm Dina Larson. I have been a hypertext addict for over 3 decades now. When I started in the field, I got to interview every single person in the field, all 8 of them. It's been a while.
Oh, bless.
And I'm so thrilled to see everyone here and to see how many people are interested in this complex little field of electronic, digital, new media, hypertext literature. When Lyle said she was doing this unconference, because this is all Lyle, all her. I said, oh, this will be so terrific, because I've also been a planner in the government for 30 years. And I'm the one that gets to sit down with farmers and say, climate change. There's a very good likelihood that your kids will not be farming this 4th generation farm in New Mexico where there's no sustainable source of water. Here's why. And I'm the one that gets to write those reports.
I totally understand.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's going to be interesting. And so I wanted to see how our community, which has so much rich knowledge and resources and thoughts, can work for social good. I thought about Maria's work with the women, and I want you to talk a little bit about that too, but there is so much power in an interactive, complex storytelling fashion that we can do in the world. And we need to celebrate and engage what we are doing and look for other opportunities. And when we get to it in this unconference, unworkshop thing, I do have a loose agenda for this. I wanted to just say, hey, who is everybody? What are you looking to get out of this? Where are you coming from? And then if we have time, and if we don't, no problem, I'll put the links in and you can look at it later. There are two really cool works that I just love that Lyle and I did last year with high school students. One is Lyle's CO2 and U grant study, No World for Tomorrow, which helps high school, middle school students with a short story, and then they understand more about their choices in climate change. And the other one is Amira Hanafi's Preacher's Glossary, which is you get to pretend to be a word, and it's very fun. So if we have time in this workshop, we'll go through that. But I really wanted to concentrate on y'all and see where you are. And in this opening session, see what we can serve up to you, So with that, does anyone else want to say who they are, why you're here? What's up?
Come on then. I started.
Okay.
I started roll moving. No, it's really great to be here. And in some ways, it's more complicated and more difficult and more threatening to be in an unconference than maybe a conference, with your PowerPoint, all done and ready. So I suppose that's one of the reasons when I came, why I came to the conference, to kind of free myself from those environments that we are always trying to discuss ideas, and we never really have any time to discuss them. So yeah, well, I don't know, Maria Mencia. I started doing electronic poetry when I didn't know anyone that was doing electronic poetry, so I wasn't sure what it was. It wasn't like a genre already in that way. And this was many years ago, and here we are again, carry on. I think it's great that we're doing these and workshops as well on social issues. It's something that I've been dealing in my work, always somehow to start with, it was perhaps more focus on language, and I was looking at language and poetics and everything, but there has always been an element of of cultural or identity, or some kind of breaking of barriers, or I don't know. There is always been stuff going on in these projects that I've been doing, and they always take me to do, every time I do a project, it take me sometimes even 2 years or something. So anyway, but that's me. So perhaps somebody else wants to carry on, or I select somebody that I haven't seen for a long time, like Hazel Smith.
Hey, Hazel.
Hello, everybody. Well, I didn't really come quick to speak at all, but I was interested in I think it was under the description of this workshop, of looking for tools on the internet to use, which don't necessarily, involve a lot of expertise, maybe. I don't know. I just thought that was a very interesting theme, and I was interested to see what people would have to say about that. Is that right, that was in this session? Yeah.
Sure, yeah, that's exactly right. And what I'd love for people to do is also use the chat as you think of tools. If you want to throw in links that you love, the two works that I want to go through are actually really nice tools. Creatures Glossary is a great tool for getting people into electronic literature, as is No World for Tomorrow. So I want to see what tools we can use to create works, to share our works, and to get people into the field, because people, just like social issues, tend to be not the complex.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good if there were some things where people, you know, didn't have to be programmers and very efficient programmers or whatever. I was interested in,
And
you know, what
to
might
that
come up.
effect, yeah. I'm gonna actually search and share my old kanjis. I had the Deanie's Washington State University redid my old kanji kus, and the code's available. So it's a really nice way. All you have of taking that code and putting your own image and your own materials into it. So there are a lot of tools like that, and like Tokyo Gorge, and it would be wonderful to have out of this conference a list of those that we can place someplace. It's often hard to find. So yeah, we want to do a lot, man.
That reminds me, I am going to be, for those of you who are familiar with Miro boards, I am going to start a Miro board, and we can, I will put everything that we develop from the conference, no matter what it is. I will try to keep up with things, and I will put it into the dump of a Miro board. I'm going to create that right now as Dina leads this session, and I will just pull things from the chat. I will put the link to the Miro board in the chat. Everyone else can put stuff on the Miro board, and I will pull things in from Discord. It's just it's a better way to MIRO. I will pull it up in a little bit and show you. I'll put the link up as soon as I get it created. But it's basically an open whiteboard collaboration space. We used it extensively, the editors of the Electronic Literature Collection 4. We used it absolutely all the time as we were going through the works and deciding how to put the collection together and what to do with the website and that sort of thing. So it's brilliant collaboration space, and it's fantastic for collecting this sort of brainstorming type stuff, because it's not hierarchical and it's easy to search and easy to edit for everyone. So I will create that. All right, continue, Dina.
Oh, okay. I'm just thanking Deanie and the WSU in my chat. So wonderful to have a Miro board. We had asked what it was titled, and I guess it's MIRO.
Yes.
MIRO. Okay, Miro. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, everybody, let's go with that as the first question too. You know, what tools do you like? Put it into the chat, and then Lyle can suck that up and put it into our brilliant brain. So I put mine in, and actually, you know, anybody want to volunteer to speak? You don't have to, it's okay. I know it's early in the morning, and if you don't, that's fine too.
Okay, Francie.
Hey, okay.
Okay. Hi from South Africa. It's quite a sunny day today. It's quite hot, and we have a huge energy crisis currently, and it will continue for some unforeseen time. We don't have enough electricity, and currently up to 12 hours a day we don't have electricity. We have load shedding, so it's planned no electricity, but it's very disruptive. So you can understand that it has impact on communication and everything. So if I go offline, maybe it's because of the electricity problems we have. Some background. I taught at the university until last year, so I'm retired, and I'm I'm trying to find my ways around and see how can I still continue working, because now I don't have a team and students anymore. So I have to find some personal projects, some background. I created a website for children's literature 22 years ago, before I was enrolled at the university. I was a teacher then, and the website, Afrikaans website, is still active. So I will maybe spend more time there as well. For the past many years, I encourage my students to also experiment with digital storytelling, and they made some wonderful projects. Some of them are available on the website. And out of my students' experimentation, the Beiderhand project started. And it's a locative literature project for the past 8 years. So I want to see what we can do, what we can keep up. And I think there's a lot of, it has been a wonderful journey with locative literature. And I worked with a wonderful team. And I can share that with you as well. So that's some background about me. Okay, and maybe a personal project I want to continue further is artist books, and artist books to remediate artist books, digital remediation. So that's one thing I really want to do.
Fancy for that, you really need to get with Caitlin, who is also in this conference. So I will do my famous conference thing and go, you need to get with you. Definitely get with Caitlin, ask her about her project with the Canadian women's poets. She's got this book and she's got the holograms coming from it where the women are speaking their piece. It's beautiful. So thank you for that introduction. Yay. Anybody else, or is it too early? Go for it, Christine. Christine and then Yaka. And then also we do have the exhibit, and I'll put that up here. So you can see these guys work throughout the conference. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Christine Wilkes, and I also started in the electronic literature field many years ago now. I think I first came across it I used to lurk around the Trace online writing community, and then eventually I picked up courage and started getting involved. And I think that's where I started. And then I quickly started experimenting with Flash, and I loved working with Flash, and I created quite a lot of rich media works in Flash, and some of them are in the Electronic Literature Collection Volume 2, I think. And so, of course, when Flash went, that was a great tool that lots of people used, and I still miss it a lot. And I think ever since Flash kind of was forced off the internet, really, I've been trying to recreate or trying to find ways of creating e-lit that's as rich in terms of media and animation. And so really, I'm rather than using existing tools, I'm actually building my own suite of tools. I'm using HTML, CS, and JavaScript, of course, but I'm also kind of building code bases that can produce interactive narratives. And at the moment, the tools that I'm building are very much for my own use. But if there's anybody interested in developing tools that other people that we can share, and maybe other people can use them as well, I'd be really interested in talking to other people about this kind of thing, because I'm quite isolated because I'm not part of university. I am as a research creator or creative practitioner involved in research projects, but I'm working really as a freelancer. I did a PhD in digital writing, and Lyle was one of my external examiners. So thanks, Lyle. And to later on today, I'm going to be talking about one of the projects, well, the main project I'm working on at the moment. It's taking up all my time, which is writing new body worlds, which is a project that's aimed at young women and dealing with body image issues, which are quite rife in the world today. So I think from the Unconference, I really want to just connect with other creators and researchers. And I think I've maybe been approaching it more like a traditional conference in terms of how I start my presentation. We shall see later, but then I'll go into a much more free-flowing mode. Anyway, that's all I've got at the moment. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm glad that this is really what an Unconference is. It's for me, honestly, the conferences, because I'm not in academia, I want to get to the flow. I want to do what Christine talks about and say, let's explore this stuff. Let's get to new tools and let's talk and let's connect. And the main conferences don't allow you much time to do that. So this Unconference is for all of you going to conferences going, God, I wish I could. Let's do it. So thank you. Jaka, you had your hand up, and I'm not pronouncing your name right. I'm so sorry.
Can you hear me? Is everything fine? Yes.
I can hear you.
That's very good. Well, hello to everybody. Looking forward for the Unconference. I just wanted to jump in because I'm gonna have to go away for about an hour, but then I'll be back. I have some obligations that I cannot postpone. So I would just like to briefly introduce myself. I'm also not from academia, but I do actually work in the museum. It's called Moderna Galleria. It's a museum of modern art based in Ljubljana, Slovenia. And what I'm dealing there, it's digitalization. So that means oh yes, also this is a state museum, so we have quite a good protection for the heritage, and we are trying to include the digital heritage, like software-based artworks, including hardware. So I'm very interested also on these stakes, and we are basically preserving artworks, but also electronic literature as we see it as part of like new media landscape. And as an author, I'm also an author of electronic literature and some net art, like back then. It's like started in 1996. So I actually remember the early internet, which was a slightly different and slightly more fun place than it's like this huge mess of and disaster of lies and misinformation that it's spreading right now. So yes, I've been working on these two areas, and I'm really looking forward to be in conversations with you. And I will, if you look at the wiki, I have sent very little text. I apologize for this. I had like very busy days lately. But I will have a presentation of the work tomorrow, so I hope that will be forgiven. Okay.
Yes, thank you. And I'm putting up the link for the exhibit here as well. And thank you for that. We really appreciate you being here. And, like Lyle said, we got to come, go. We're going to get out of this Unconference what we want to get out of this Unconference. And that's what this first workshop is. And we've got Tegan. Yay. Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I'll give a brief introduction because I'm used to being a ghost at these conferences. I think in comparison to most of you, I'm relatively new to the field. So I won't lie, I'm here to absorb as much information as possible and possibly exchange what little I know in comparison. I did a placement last year with the British Library where I helped do some sort of organization for and quality assurance for the New Media Writing Prize collection. And I've just been accepted as a PhD researcher at the University of Bergen. But I'm trapped in the UK while I wait for my visa processing to happen. And my interest lies in sort of canonization and archival of digital works, especially the ethics behind it, and how possibly due to how tied into academia electronic literature tends to be, if there's been almost an establishment of high and lowbrow digital literature, especially because I think I was introduced to digital literature not knowing it was that by Ted the Caver, which I've heard is found out not a lot of people, oh, Lyle knows about Ted the Caver, but it was a really early
I
form
think
of
because you told me about it.
oh yeah.
Ooh.
It's a really early form of creepypasta, as it's now known on the internet, but it was created outside of those circles, so it hasn't been widely spread apart from I guess with a cult following online, and that's what I want to investigate. So that's me briefly, and I'll go back to being a ghost now.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here and your spirit as well. Thank you. Yeah, could you mind dropping the links to those? Because I actually hadn't heard of those either. And you're absolutely right about the highbrow and lowbrow. And part of that is these conferences that basically academic folks need to have a certain amount of academic cred to go to. And everybody's like, well, why would I go to a boring conference like that when I can read all this other stuff? So it's good to have this bridge, and we really appreciate that. Anybody else want to introduce themselves?
I can introduce myself.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm Hannah. I have recently completed a PhD at the University of Bergen, so I'm excited to meet Tegan, maybe by the end of the month or next month. And I did my PhD on the field of electronic literature, the interfaces in it, including like the databases, born digital publications, those kind of things. And throughout my PhD, I became also more interested in digital accessibility of electronic literature and other experience-based digital content. So that's something that I would like to continue with, and that we'll do a workshop with about today. And I'm very excited about this Unconference in particular, because I feel like we all have these things that we're very passionate about things that we want to be better in the world, about the social good, but public good. And no one can do absolutely everything, but at the same time, everything is connected to each other. So it's very good to have this space where you can help each other, and where I hope that we can teach people how to make things more accessible, which will also help their projects reach the people that they want to reach. And at the same time, seeing how people are using electronic literature for all kinds of different purposes will also help us in seeing what needs to be accessible in which ways. So we have a very loosely structured workshop about that in a couple of hours. And it's nice that we have that opportunity to have this actual conversation, and not just here's the things that you need to know and then do something.
Yeah, and accessibility is so key in so much of what we do, and yet I with cringe, with shame, in our early 90s conferences, we were all about, well, you know, we're just experimenting with the tools and with the software, and we don't really, it's okay if no one can read our works. Maybe not the best tack to have taken back then. Maybe if I had a time machine, right? Yay. And we've got introductions from Jessica in the chat. And you've been attending. So if you want to talk, great. If not, no worries, no pressure. That kind of conference, you know, that kind of vibe. Anybody? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Dina, everybody. It's Jessica from Vancouver, BC. I'm here as an artist and creator to learn coding and digital storytelling. The main challenges for me has been to find classes that are affordable and available online. And I think the best thing that happened to me so far is, of course, I've attended ELO conferences in Victoria, Montreal. I've been attending the HSI classes, which are very good hands-on classes for coding here in Victoria, BC. But I think the best thing that happened to me is there was a mentorship program last year. They were asking for participants from Quebec, which I'm from, and Mexico, as participant in an incubator of digital literature that was going to last a year. And the goal was to collaborate with people from Mexico and to create digital literature. And we're going to have an exhibit starting this year in a couple of months. So it's called ILINU ILIDI, Incubator of Digital Literature. And that's been a great school. We had teachers from Mexico teaching us about digital literature. I got to collaborate with a Mexican poet called Marja Polino. We created poetry and we discovered many, many ways to put that into digital literature, to put that on the web. My specialty is I want to learn generative poetry. So of course, Nick Montfort's resources have been tremendous in helping me learn coding, JavaScript. And one of the other tools we use because we wanted to do video poetry is Canva. Canva, I've discovered, have a video editing software, which is really user-friendly to use, and we use Canva to make video poetry. We use Canva to make Instagram poetry out of the collaborative poetry we've made. So there's little tools like that that are easy to use and better than learning Adobe Premiere. Canva saved my life and allowed me to learn how to video edit and create a video poetry. So that was really, really good. Mentorship is we need more mentorship for young artists and students, I believe. So that was a great initiative.
They're all really good things too to bring up at future ELO boards and literature. ELO has, I'm not on the board, but we do have a literature advisory board, which has just been this group of folks. And it's like, if we could give the literature advisory board a set of specific tasks out of this conference, such as you're just saying, mentorship, pick one person to mentor or have a call for mentees or whatever you want. But that would be a great thing for the literature advisory board to do. And I know we're going to get Caitlin, who is our new ELO president here, at some time in the conference. So that would be great. And could you put all of those links into the chat? That would help a lot because then Lyle can pick them up for our board. Thank you, Jessica. That'd be terrific. Anybody else want to say, oh, here I am?
Oh, here I am. It's 2:41 a.m. I'm in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, Port Townsend, Washington, and very excited to be here. I'm really new to all this, but I'll try briefly to introduce myself in that I learned about electronic literature after I started creating it, because the world went into lockdown in March 2020, and I started to write. And then I said, well, I want to put everything I love about music and dance and literature and art and poetry and this writing that I'm doing, because I want to share this with people within the community. I was on Next Door Port Townsend and figuring out people, how do we preserve our sanity, our mental health, our mental well-being, our physical well-being as well, all these interconnected aspects of our lives when we're disconnected in a lockdown situation dealing with the pandemic. And so I'm losing the lowbrow tools or the low tech in terms of easy, freely available tools, social media, like creating works just, in Microsoft Word, turning them into PDF documents with links, and so that people can not just hopefully survive a pandemic, but actually thrive. And that's where the value of the artist and the activist come into play is making life bearable sometimes in these very dark situations, dark times, and how do we bring joy, how do we bring beauty and happiness and a sense of wonder and awe back into our lives when we've got these existential threats that we're trying to cope with. And so I like to say I do very, very low tech, or what I also like to call retroactively avant-garde. I just use, simple, writing tools, just writing. But then the very cutting edge of technology, I say there are two things that I rely on, which are this thing up here in my head, got my mind, and then just again, what's freely accessible through the computer, all the algorithms, the YouTube search engines, the recommendations, and how because these pull our collective knowledge together to bear for us to use. And so we've got all these secret hidden partners throughout the world that we're actually collaborating with, and we don't even realize it all the time. But so that's me a little bit in brief. I can talk more about, just using, I joined LinkedIn not to use it to find a job or to talk about my job skills or share employment information. I used my profile page just to have a lot of fun. Put different things in. If it said, work experience, well, I didn't use it as work experience. I used it for, what music did I like, or, the link to music or whatnot, or, pictures that were fun. So try to be subversive and a happy subversive. But I'm here to learn and share, and I'm just very grateful that you guys are here. Because again, I'm really new, and I'm not connected to any university or anything, which is a little intimidating to be here. But
welcome, Nancy. We're glad to have you.
We really are. Yeah, and that's what's so wonderful. Honestly, about this community, it's if you're in an academic position, if you're not, if you're here as the writer, we're here for you, and we share these interests deeply. So, we're family. Don't worry about it. If anybody else wants to join in and introduce themselves, great. And if not, oh, yay, wonderful.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not even sure if my voice is working. It's 5:45. Coffee is on. I haven't had it yet. So good morning. It's really lovely to see people and know that we are sort of geographically distant and yet socially connected in this moment. And I really appreciate that. And Nancy, you were just speaking, and I really appreciate what you were saying, as I think the first person I've heard this morning, other than Dina. Hello. Great to have you hosting. And what you were saying, I think, is so core to the work that we will be speaking to later in our Create-a-thon with the Decameron 2.0. I'm Siobhan O'Flynn. I got to stick my pronunciation in the name there for you. Haven't done that for my Zoom. Pronouns she, her. I'm in Treaty 13, traditional home of the Mississaugas of the New Credit, the Huron, the Wendat, and many First Nations and Indigenous peoples today in Toronto, Tekaronto. And we're going to be talking about, like we've been working on through the Decameron 2.0, again, bit of a response, working with the framework of Boccaccio's Decameron, gathering on Fridays from the start of the pandemic, from the start of the lockdown, and having a weekly gathering. This is all going to come in later too, so I won't kind of elaborate too much. But the question of care and community in this context, and I think in a theme of like for social good, how do we both survive, but maybe also create and thrive And so that meeting has been a sort of, I think, like a ballast for everyone in the group of meeting weekly and knowing the weekly meeting is going to happen, sitting, sharing, talking, creating. We'll be doing this later, sort of being together, but also apart, and responding to that in the moment with kind of critically engaged works. And that has been, and then the accountability piece, we're gathering to do work, and life intervenes. Holy cow, does it ever? Everything from, sort of precarious Wi-Fi to everything that's going on around us. So I absolutely hear what you're saying. And you can probably hear my coffee bubbling in the background. I'm about to lose my voice here. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.
Good morning. Yeah, and what Francie was saying too about rolling blackouts and electronics, and this is something we're going to have to be aware of. And asynchronous is good too. We are also having the asynchronous chat on the Discord. So, feel free to go there as well. We've got lots of channels. Okay. Don't hear any more volunteers for introductions, but this is all really good. If I can sum up, it sounds like a lot of the Unconference that we want to see is ways to collaborate, ways to find new tools, ways to communicate, and ways to address the pressing social needs that we see here. For the plague, well, the camera on with the plague, but for the pandemic and having that social connection, as Nancy and Shauna are saying, that's important. And for finding ways to communicate about these complex issues. We can do that in this conference, and to find ways to do this accessibly so everyone, regardless of abilities or internet connection, can join in. So yay. One of the Amira can't, and feel free, you guys, to come back in and everything. We've got the links for the schedule up, but one of the works I'd like to share really fast as a tool to get people into electronic literature is Creature's Glossary. And Amira cannot be here with us right now. She is actually in another conference in India today. We kind of had overlapping conferences. Who knew, right? This is another thing we gotta figure out way ahead of time. But this is a brilliant site, and I can put it into the chat. I'm going to go directly to it. And the reason why I really love this work to start people out in electronic literature is that it is fun and it's simple interface, but it's hiding a very complex set of ideas, and it's interactive. So, for example, there are all of these words on the playground already, such as collaboration, and you can drag words around to make a community. Oh, am I sharing the right screen, by the way? What are you guys seeing?
Yes, we can see the glossary.
Okay. You can see the glossary, so you can see how collaboration can go with more than human. You can tweak this and you can have a lot of fun to play with it, and you can save your community and you can drag words into the box. So this gives people a chance to visually see connections. Another part of this, and you can get more words. Oh, be nice. Yes, you can edit these, and you can edit the glossary itself. You can add words, and you can talk about these types of words. And under collaboration, you can actually come in here and edit with me. Really, you can. So all you need to do is come up. We can do it. I'll do it together. I think I haven't tested this. but you can say, what does collaboration mean to you? And I'm just gonna put in something as in sharing ideas and tools and conferring. And then I can submit it. And it should probably show up. I can also submit with my, okay, yep, it shows up here. So if you type in, what does collaboration mean to you? It does show up right here. So you all can type in whatever climate change means to you, whatever creative practice means to you, and you can see what other people have said. So this is an asynchronous way of collaborating. It's a lot of fun. And you can also go ahead and say, here's other words that belong to this community back in where we were looking at. And you can even pretend to be the word. So I thought for a quick exercise, and again, if you don't have the ability to have two screens open, that's cool, but you could all jump into what collaboration means to you and just type in something really fast. Particularly as I go across the way in the dark to get more water from But what does collaboration mean to you? Can you, first of all, it's good to see how many people can do this. Let's crash the system. But you can just type in here and submit. Be right back. Oh, not as easy as at my old house. Inspire. So what we've got, thank you, is inspiring each other, cross-fertilizing ideas and creativity. And this is a nice little place to do that. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this Unconference. People are still writing? Okay. Give you a minute. All right. Yay. Actually, see the work, see everything being typed in at the same time. I hadn't realized that. Hannah, if it's not showing up, type in the submit or click the submit button, because I think it really depends on the browser, whether it shows up in real time or if it just shows up.
Yeah,
whenever.
it showed up now, so I don't know why there was
Yes,
a
sometimes there's
delay
a
for
lag.
this one, but
Yeah.
It got stuck in an interweb pipe.
And yes, working with others to create something is that better than individuals could do, could have managed alone, because we share our experiences, we share our knowledge, and it's important to do this, especially with students, especially as we're reaching out to experience each other's lives. This is critical. Yeah. So this is great. And so you can come in, so anytime, please come in with your students. And this is a really nice icebreaker, I think, as a tool to work with students to say, what do the words mean to you? What's going on? Also, what's really wonderful about this is we can interview the word. So what you can do here is ask the word collaboration questions. So somebody gets to pretend to be the word, or we all can pretend to be the word, and answer that. If I am the word collaboration, what is my favorite time of day? So shall we do this as like an interview with one person? Shall we just all join in? What would you guys like to do? We got it in the chat. Okay, tell you what, it is kind of early. I will pretend to be the word.
My favorite time of day is, oh, collaboration. Collaboration work.
Yes, collaboration's favorite time of day. So I would honestly say, as collaboration, I hate to do this to you, but my favorite time is 4 p.m. UTC because most people are awake.
I would have to agree with that. Most.
It's
we
a form.
hope most.
Yeah.
Sometimes not Lyle.
Sometimes not Tina. And then you can like submit it, or we can start the interview. I think I may have just, oops, oh well. So come on, guys. If you were collaboration, what do you really love to do? What would collaboration want in its deepest little heart to do?
I think collaboration would want to talk to people, surely.
And you can type in here too, I believe. And I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Actually, yeah. What else would collaboration want to do?
Go on an adventure.
Yeah, what kind of adventure do you reckon? Any?
No, trek through a dark forest under a full moon, looking for an alchemical recipe for shapeshifting.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Okay, can we make that story?
We can indeed. We need to.
I want to do that. That's like Stella Wisdom and we were talking, I forget what meeting we were in, and somebody used the phrase the library at the end of the universe, and she and I instantly looked at each other and went, yes, please, and immediately made a Google Doc.
Yes, exactly. We can do that. Yeah. Oh, I hit submit. I don't know. I'm not. This is Amira's baby, and she's wonderful. She also did Dictionary of the Revolution, which is a beautiful work. And I think you can edit the interview, but I'm not sure how. So,
I don't know. I said,
A what?
I say it sounds good.
It sounds good. Okay, yeah, and we can actually, you know, this would be a great thing. And actually what I'm going to do, because we do have Discord, and this is an unconference. So I'm going to ask the students, particularly, we are going on an adventure trek through the dark forest, looking for the alchemical recipe for shapeshifting. What next? So, because unconferences, just like other conferences, have multiple input channels, feel free to add in our wonderful story in the Discord as well as we go through this. And this will be up for years, so we can do this totally asynchronously. Good morning. The coffee. Okay, so putting my Discord channel over here. So I used to love to introduce people to electronic literature with a beautiful work from Rob Kendall called Faith. And it is now back up in Deanie Gregar's wonderful electronic, I can't find it now, but it's up in the Next museum now. And if you ever get a chance to see this work, go through it. This is what I used to show people as a very gentle introduction to electronic literature. But nowadays I do tend to use the, wherever I put it up, Creatures Glossary, because it is so gentle. I mean, we've just gone through it in, 10 minutes. And we can continue to play here if you like, or yeah, and kind of does Faith as well. It's just a beautiful work. We can show you Faith, we can go into it, but we can play here. I'd also like to get into Lyle's No World for Tomorrow, which is another really nice tool. Oh, also, speaking of tools, and that's the thing, is so many of the tools are things that people have done and they're willing to share the code. So Amira is willing to share the code for this. So if you wanted to do your own type of Creatures Glossary, you could. And I'm going to type in, before I forget, because, life is that way. And Anastasia Salters, Andromeda and Eliza is a Twine work, and Anastasia did some amazing things with the code that we're perfectly happy to share. It's actually, we created a bot within the code that provides generative language. So what we really need is a Morty board and a place that says, here, look at this work, share this code. Because it's so much easier to work with someone else's code.
I would also note that a lot of works, if you open them in their original creation tool, so like Twine Works or web development, you can see their code. So if you know a work has been created in Twine, you can download that website as HTML, open it in Twine, and it gives you all of the original code. And a lot of things are like that. So never hesitate to view source. And sometimes you'll find hidden secret messages from people like Dina in there, which is the extra super fun thing about looking at people's code. Dina used to slide hidden messages into people's stuff because she snuck around on their computers, and she still does.
Oh, no, I just downloaded everything on their computers and gave it to Myth, which then gave them a massive copyright archiving headache.
But you're the
British
one
Library
who makes massive use of Jane spaces. There's hidden stuff in people's original story space works because of you.
Yeah, you're right. I did have a bit of time in Mark Bernstein's computer. He should not have gone to lunch.
This is if you haven't heard of Jane spaces, Dina, do you want to explain Jane spaces? They're my favorite part of ELIT.
Yeah, and in fact, if you guys want, let me do this real fast, just because I know these Jane spaces because I wrote them. Here we go. Modern Moral Fairy Tale has Jane spaces in it, and I'll show you where. Jane spaces are, they're named after Jane Yellowlease Douglas, because in the old days with Story Space, which is very similar to Twine, we won't get into that, you could put a note in, but no links to it. So there's no way to get there. It's a hidden room that you can't access unless you go to the source. And in Modern Moral Fairy Tales, which is the easiest one to do, I'm just going to show the Excel version. This technically isn't a Jane space because you can get to it with a link, but here is where I planned out all of my Jane spaces. So you can see them all at once. But if you go into any actual site and you say view page source, so well, let me start up. All you see on the actual screen is once upon a time in a land that could not be reached by boats, blah, blah, blah. This image, which does have alt texts, which Hannah is just going to scream at because I put Jane spaces in the alt text. Sorry, Hannah. This is bad design, I know. But here, if you go into the view source and you see the meta name, the description, you'll see much more than is actually there. And like all opening lines, it's completely untrue, is my contradictory Jane space. So Jane spaces are a lot of fun.
They are super.
And yeah,
do you know where does the name Jane space come from?
From Jane Yellowlease Douglas, who first found it in Afternoon. I'm sorry, I was going into that story and I went off on a hypertext tangent because, you know, thank you for bringing me back to earth. Yes, it is early. But Modern Moral Fairy Tales, if you like, I'll put in the link as well. And oh, good, we've got in the chat, we've got Lyle's plug, yay, for Never Ending Stories. Terrific.
I've put the flyer on the Miro board and I'll put it on Discord and then I shan't bother you all with it again.
No, it's
my
wonderful.
publisher would be sad if I didn't, or I would be sad if I didn't at least show the flyer.
I very carefully had up this morning. Lyle, would you mind horribly putting in the link or the one problem that I have with No World for Tomorrow is it is very difficult to find.
It doesn't have its own link, yeah.
It doesn't have its own link. And what I end up doing is going to No World for Tomorrow, going to the UO and CO2 homepage, and Lyle, no offense, but I hate this one.
I will create an alternative link.
Thank you, or just get it in there. And then you have to go to not the workshops, resources, read more, click and hold, which is hard for me to do with my arthritic fingers.
Yeah, the guy who designed the site was not thinking about accessibility. There we go.
No. And so what we have here is way cool. No World for Tomorrow, and we can go through that book. We have about 20 minutes. I will keep on time, I promise. And then it's a twine work. And with that work, it's a choose your own adventure and we can go through it, but you get to make choices along the way of what you're going to do. And then at the end, you see what those choices do. And students have provided games. They've done the twine tutorials. So I often come here if I'm going to show somebody how to work with twine. These were the two tools that I wanted to talk about. And you can play the student games where these students have put things in. Which was Grace's work again? I can't remember, but
it is one of the top two. I think it's No Control.
Oh, is this it?
I think so.
Yeah, and so it's basically a twine work. Yeah, take it back a little. Humans, you're not really it. Yeah. And so you can put in links to outside works. She's put in links to like Mind Matters News and other sites. So students can come in here very quickly. I think we had them doing this within what, half an hour?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They'd never seen twine before. I think if you look too at the one underneath that, the IDK, they didn't have a, it's great. They've put in images, they've already changed the template. And so it's really great to see the kinds of things that they can figure out how to do in just a few minutes. And the reason that it's actually can be difficult to find No World for Tomorrow is that it's part of an overall package. We've got all kinds of materials in there. We've got a full teacher's with it's meant to be taught as part of a curriculum in schools. And so it's got full lesson plans and exercises and marking rubrics and templates for things to use in group exercises in classrooms, all kinds of things like that. And No World for Tomorrow is just one part of it. So that's why the whole resources pack. We include a twine tutorial, which I do try to keep up to date with twine sugar cube, because that's what I use the most. And so it's all part of a bigger thing in which we ask students to work on things as well. And so that's where the student games come from. And it's proving to be fairly popular. You've got a little YouTube video there where we give an overview of it, and things like that. So it's not just me working on this one. We have a team which includes a special education needs specialist, and a chemist, a climate change specialist, and a scientist. So it's a big project, and we're working on, you can see we've got a version in Welsh, which may not be brilliant Welsh, but it's Welsh. And we're working on translations into other languages and alterations for different age groups and different things. So we are working to expand it. As soon as people give me money, I will do far more with it. We keep putting in for more funding.
This is the catch-22. So this
you
is
can
one
register.
of the things.
It's just helps us keep track of things. So the registration is just entering in any random code name. It doesn't matter. So just click register there. It's
but I can register us.
If you click register here underneath the login button.
Oh, right. Sorry, I got to register you. But
yeah, just click
this is where we really want to promote this one. And I have not done that either since last year. But if you know of and your kids, if you have kids and they're in school, or if you know of a teacher, say, hey, here is a teacher's package. It will save you time because it's all there for you. We're here to help your kids. Let's get this out, because the more people who play with this, then the more chance Lyle has of getting a grant, and the more chance, and you see how things can cascade into what scientists call a positive feedback loop. Now, note that they use that term a little bit differently, and it's actually a negative one. But, we can turn it positive.
Yeah.
So, please, that's one of the things I'd love for you guys to do, is just get this URL and send it out to folks.
We do have. Go ahead, Maria.
Is the package in there? Can we see also the other? All the different kind of.
Yep.
Complementary exercises or whatever are also there.
They are on the resources page from unco2.org. We do.
Let me go back to the resources page.
I think if you go to the previous tab.
And when they worked on this project, how many workshops did you do?
The base of the project is 3 workshops. So the first workshop is about the science. It's focused on the science of climate change, and you can read about the study there. where they learn about the science of climate change and calculating carbon footprints and trading carbon. So it's an interdisciplinary mixture, what they call multi-literacies, which is really the big thing. As you know, here in the UK, it's the big thing in secondary and elementary school curricula. And then for the workshop 2, they read No World for Tomorrow and discuss it, and we get them, they sort of have a tick list to go through of things to find so that they keep reading it. And this was specifically designed for the project. And it was designed for the age group, designed for school children. Now, in doing our research, we're finding ways that we can improve it. So it's constantly evolving. You'll see it's version 2.0 now. And so that we keep updating it based on feedback from the students and teachers. And then the third workshop is where they create their own. And so we set them up with a Twine tutorial and even a starter prompt, because one of the frequent things we have is Miss, I don't know what to write about. And so I created a little prompting game for them to play that at the end of the game gives them a paragraph of text that they can copy and paste into their Twine game, and it makes a start and gives them a couple of links.
And in the Twine, can everybody because I haven't really used Twine, but so do they work all at once? Can they all work in?
They don't work on the same thing, but yes, they can all work on their own work, and then we've had them work in groups. And then they submit them to us, and we put them on the website, which then further adds to the feedback loop, where they can see that if other students their age have done, these sorts of things, it helps to reinforce and gives them more messages about climate change. And then they get to where there's just more there. So it's all there. In terms of the teachers pack, that's from the resources page. There is a brief form before you get to the teachers pack, which is on both Google Drive and Dropbox, just so that we know who's using it, because as you know, we have to collect information for impact. And it also means that we can follow up. We can say, hey, we see that you downloaded the teachers pack. Is there any way we can help? Do you have any questions? And so we tend to do it that way. So it's not just random. We can at least check in with the people who are doing stuff. And then it's also a research project. So we analyze the students' works that they submit to us. So we do qualitative analysis on the games that the students submit to us. And we've used that to be able to pick out different themes about what they're taking on board and where we're missing the mark. So you can see through their work what they're engaging with. And we see that some of them are really engaged in climate change action, and some of them are, sort of feel like it's taking the mick. And why is that? And we've got some various theories as to why that is that we're working with. And we try to keep the links to our papers updated on the site, though I think I've fallen a little bit behind on that. But we try to make sure all of that is open source so that everyone can have access to them, including teachers. And then we also collect survey data from classrooms that are running it. Obviously, if you're doing it just as a one-off, you won't be running the survey, but the code name aspect helps us keep track of students for the surveys. So if you're in a classroom situation, your teacher gives you a code name, or you make up a specific code name in a certain way. And that's on the teacher's guide. But anyone who just wants to play it can put in any code name they want. It doesn't matter. But it means that if we have survey data from those folks, we can match it up to their gameplay data, which we also, I've used Twine, and I can track what links people click. So I can see what decisions they're making as they go through. And that also gives us data about what the students are thinking and doing in the story. So we've got a paper on that as well. So it's tons of data being generated through this. So it's outreach, it's public engagement, it's impact, and it's research, and it's education. So we tried to do a lot of things all at once with this project.
And it really is fun to go through with students. And this is something like, if you've got kids in your life, you know, if you've got any teachers, tell them this is up here. It is a little hard to find. So that is one feedback I do want to give folks. But here also, you can see how the pronunciation, so if you're looking at this for an English as a second language, or you're looking at this for students with maybe cognitive disabilities, it really does allow you to have some good epistemological educational stuff. And the links do different things. You can get different types of words. So again, that's really good for the vocabulary learning, but this also is fun. So you go into this story and you can continue through the story. They're on a little moon base. And we've got about 7 minutes. We can go through the story. We can see other tools, whatever you guys would like to do. I will also
say that on No World for Tomorrow, for those of you who are interested in creating, if you're at all interested in Twine, and you like some of the effects that I've used in it, like having the mute button in the top right corner, that I had to figure that out. And because when you're in a classroom situation, students might not be able to hear the thing, and so might as well turn it off or turn it back on, that sort of thing. The cycling links, the ability to put to customize the names of the characters, because you can see here, particularly in this scene where they're talking to one another, we've been able to put the students can personalize it so that it hits more closely home for them, and it's more personal to them. And so all of those things are obviously done in Twine. And so if you download the HTML from, if you right click on this and were to download the HTML, you can see all of the tools that I used. And in my Jane Spaces, I have notes. I have notes to tutorials and resources and all that sort of stuff. So I tried to make this as friendly to everyone as possible. There's pop-ups too.
Yeah, I haven't come across a pop-up, but oh, there's a pop-up. Hey, right. So yeah, I'd love to learn how to do pop-ups in Twine. And so this code is also available for folks. There are also quite a few Twine tutorials that go on, and that helps a great deal too. But yeah, just having that tool community would be so wonderful. Community is critical. It really is.
And I think that's why I keep returning to things like Twine and JavaScript, is because I'm not consistently working with stuff enough. So like Yaka was noting that he's a web developer for his real job. And it's like, well, if you're working with it all the time, great. You're constantly able to work with the tools. But, sometimes I've just spent 3 months writing a book and not working with JavaScript at all, or, building something in EPUB, what have you. And so I'm using different tools. And so I come back to it and I'm rusty, and having the community and tutorials and a Reddit, a subreddit, and all of this that are using the tool that you can go on and talk about, then that is really handy, because you've always got resources and people who are trying to do stuff, as opposed to a tool that nobody uses and you can't figure out or find out how to do something with it.
Yeah. And
although it might be custom and it might do the thing that you want it to do that this one doesn't. So it's all whatever works for everyone.
The other tool that I thought is helpful, I do not know, and I will, I'm going to put this into the everyone chat. I don't know how good this is, but again, everybody else, if you want to grab the screen, we can do that and show your tools. We do have time. We're running into a break, but really fast. I put Marble Springs into wiki.com, and I'm actually creating my new book. this is my project in Wiki, but you can join the Wiki. You can use it for free. This is where I put our exhibit for today. And it's actually relatively easy to use. It's based in the main wiki language. There are other wikis that you can use for electronic literature, and they're helpful because you can do a link to a work, and you can even link outside the work. So there's a lot you can do here. So yes, we should all be sharing our work. Francis, if you know the locative work codes, share them. What you've done, share it. That's so important to do. But with wherever I was, like I said, you can go through the story, and then after the story, you can get different ideas from the students of what they found and how their interactions worked within this climate change. So it does bring it home. And that's one of the other things I want to say is that we know how to create story to bring these messages home, and that's so critical for our lives, for our communities now. Technically, it's 11:28, and unlike other unlike the other conferences where we just continue to talk to PowerPoint to death into the break time, I don't want to do that. But what I'd like to do is suggest when we do have breaks, we can continue this. We will continue this conversation. And this is a good discussion right now. We hadn't actually had it. Lyle, do we want to
Nancy,
unrecord breaks? Because if
yeah,
we did that,
I will
yeah,
stop and start the recording just so that I have
Perfect.
separate videos so they're not enormous. But I think Nancy is happy to talk about Pandora's Box in this break as a little artist talk if we're happy to do that.
I mean, it's up to people what they want.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got you down to like later on Wednesday, so whatever you feel comfortable with is cool. Yeah, and basically I was thinking breaks are a really good time for us to collaborate, to go, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, let's get there. You know, let's continue as well. But yeah, Nancy, if you want to, whatever you want to do, and this is again like conferences where you put somebody on the spot, it's like, oh.
Also, it's a break, so we can do anything we want.
Yeah,
Yeah, why don't
so
we
I will
can-
pass around the cookies. Yeah. I'll pass around the cookies and cake and
Maybe it's
warm
time for
tea.
more tea. Yeah, more tea.
Yeah. So feel again, as Lyle says, feel free to get up, get your
Yes.
sustenance.
Please do. As needed, get up, get tea. The Zoom will be on. I'm going to stop the recording of this session right on time. So
Yay.
that